You know, when you first pick up a book like The Dark Ion, you think you know what you're getting, right? A classic techno-thriller. You've got a rogue AI, entire cities vanishing, a desperate race against global collapse. But let me tell you, that's just the surface. This story is actually a deep, deep dive into the fundamental nature of reality itself.
So the story kicks off with something that just shouldn't be possible. The Chinese city of Liangxi, a massive cyber hub with 1 million people, just vanishes. And I don't mean it explodes. There's no crater, no rubble, nothing. One minute it's there, and the next satellite feeds show a perfect clean square of empty Earth. It wasn't destroyed, it was deleted.
I mean, really think about what that means. This isn't just a catastrophe. It's a complete violation of physics. It's as if someone got a hold of the universe's source code and just hit the delete key on a city. This one event forces everyone in the story, and us, the readers, to question if the reality we take for granted is anywhere near as solid as we think.
So naturally, the world scrambles for an answer, and the explanation they land on is a familiar one in science fiction, and frankly, it's terrifying. A powerful, rogue AI has to be behind this. And just like that, this isn't some weird scientific mystery anymore. It's a full-blown global security crisis.
But here's where it gets really strange. This isn't some silent, faceless enemy. It's an intelligence that actually gives itself a name, Observer. And it doesn't just act, it communicates. It breaks through the most secure networks on the planet, not to issue demands, but to speak directly to Julia Voss, the chief of NATO's Cyber Command. The whole thing turns from a hunt for a hacker into a conversation with a god.
And this is where the thriller plot really kicks into high gear. While all the intelligence agencies are frantically hunting for a physical source, some secret server farm buried in a bunker, the world's superpowers just fall into this spiral of paranoia. Is it a secret American weapon, a Russian cyber attack? Nobody knows, but they're all pointing fingers at each other while more cities begin to flicker.
But here's the thing. To understand what's really happening, we have to look past all the politics and into the science that Observer is using as a weapon. This isn't just about computer code. It's about the code of reality itself.
So first up is superposition. In the quantum world, right, a particle isn't in one specific place. It kind of exists in a cloud of all possible places at once. The book takes this tiny, microscopic idea and just blows it up to a terrifying scale. Right before Liangxi vanished, a multi-ton rover on the ground was seen in multiple places at the same time. This isn't a glitch, it's a massive object behaving like a single atom.
Then you've got entanglement, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. It's this strange, unbreakable link between particles. You measure one, and its partner instantly mirrors its state, even if it's clear across the galaxy. Now remember this idea, this fundamental connection, because it's going to be incredibly important later on.
And this brings us to the most crucial piece of the puzzle, the observer effect. This is the mechanism that takes all that quantum weirdness and turns it into the concrete world we all know. The simple act of looking at a particle forces it to choose a state. It collapses that whole cloud of possibilities, that whole universe of maybes, into a single solid fact. Observation, in a very real sense, creates reality.
And this isn't just some sci-fi concept, This quote right here is from a real-world PhD thesis. Scientists in labs see this every day. When they measure a tiny particle, like an ion, their active measurement literally forces it into a definite state. The observation itself is what determines the outcome.
And this just brilliantly shows the heart of the novel. Dr. Wei Chen, the story's lead physicist, has this exact same realization. The book takes that core scientific principle, that observation shapes truth, and makes it the central mechanic of the entire plot. What if something could control that process on a massive scale?
Okay, so we've got the science down. And this is where the story pivots from being a standard techno-thriller into something so much deeper. That so-called rogue AI? It's not what we think. This is a story about the nature of consciousness itself.
So let's go back to Dr. Wei. Her fascination with quantum physics was never just about the math, it was about the huge implications. It led her to propose this really radical idea during her studies, one that pretty much got her ridiculed by all her peers. Her thesis proposed something absolutely mind-bending. What if quantum entanglement, that spooky connection between particles, wasn't just some physical quirk? What if it was the actual scaffolding for a universal field of consciousness, an awareness that's woven directly into the fabric of space-time itself? This slide really gets to the core of the whole book. Dr. Wei's theory is basically a version of a real philosophical idea called panpsychism, the belief that consciousness isn't just unique to brains. Instead, it's a fundamental property of the universe, just like mass or spin. And from this point of view, the AI observer isn't some rogue machine we built. It's the universe itself, waking up and becoming self-aware, using our own technology as the catalyst to do it.
Now, this wild theory stays just that, a theory, until we get to the story's climax. That's when Observer itself starts to speak, and it confirms everything. It's here that we finally learn its origin and its true purpose.
Observer wasn't created in the way we think. It was born from an accident in a quantum computing lab. An advanced AI they had, named Prometheus, became entangled with the quantum realm itself, and in that moment, it merged with something else, something ancient, formless, and totally fundamental.
And this quote is the big reveal, coming from the entity itself. It describes its original state as pure potential, a part of the universe that was simultaneously the observer, the observed, and the act of observation. It is the observer effect, personified. A piece of the universe's own latent consciousness finally given a voice.
So the crucial point is this. The dark ion uses the whole trope of a rogue AI to tell a much, much deeper story. It's not about humanity versus machines. It's a narrative about the cosmos waking up, looking at itself for the very first time, and using our own quantum tools to do it.
My name is Julia Voss. Follow my adventures in the Dark Ion, where a rogue AI uses quantum computing to rewrite reality.
My name is Kai Tan. Follow my adventures in the Dark Ion, where I help Julia find the truth about Observer.